Let the people know what's your name and where you're from.
My name is Ryan Herms. I'm from a small town in Connecticut, but I live out in Brooklyn now. I've been here about 6 years. Yeah, just living it up.
So, what brought you to the city?
Well, originally I had moved out to LA just to kind of like figure it out there, and slowly realized that it wasn't for me. And then a homie of mine who I was out there with actually moved to Park Slope, so just had an open crib for me to crash at and figure it out here. So I finished up some, crazy stuff I had to finish up in Venice Beach, and then drove to Salt Lake City, and then hung out there for 2 weeks, and then shipped my car to New York, and I've been here ever since.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
That's a journey.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was definitely a good life experience to go through.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with fashion or anything?
No, this was even before. I mean, I was into clothes for a long time.
Yeah.
I always had a dream of, owning my own brand one day, but it was one of those things that I never had the resources or, the knowledge.
Yeah.
Really, even at the time, like, this was before LA was starting to turn into like sort of another fashion capital with like how all the warehouses and all the rag shops are out there now. But it was really way before any of this clothing stuff. It was skateboarding and skiing. That was the things I was really caring about.
So tell me more about Healthy Soul.
To me, it's Heal Thy Soul. But for anyone that perceives it as Healthy Soul, the message is, if your soul needs healing, hopefully these, items or these pieces will kind of open your mind to, the subliminal imagery of it all. But if your soul is, healthy, it's more so to kind of show the world that, I'm in a place to where I could be, the most genuine to you, and maybe help your soul heal as well. Because I think as people, we care a lot about the outside, but forget that like our bodies are just like transportation for our soul. So the healing really comes down to what's going on in your head, what's going on with how you feel, recognizing it, and then trying to make a change for it. So,
that's pretty dope, bro. That's pretty dope. All right, Creator, like just hearing that, because me reading it, I read it the first way, and how you explained it sounds even cooler. So what gave you that direction to come up with this sort of name so far?
So it's kind of funny. The way it happened was I'm really into Larry June, and he has a brand called Midnight Organic, and they always do like healthy or organic or just in big bold varsity letters screen printed, or they're doing applique now on hoodies and stuff. But for Christmas I got a bootleg Midnight Organic crew neck, and it was screen printed, and it literally said "Heal Thy." And I was like, oh, what am I gonna do with this? Like, I think it's sick, but like, I don't want to just let it collect dust, or what I mean. So at the time I had a pretty good deal on a photo studio, like under the table, and the homie that was helping me with that was doing screen printing in the basement of the Artis loft.
That's a good look.
So I was like, yo, dude, like, I'll make the design, like, can we screen print on this? And then we did that, and it took off from there. It was literally just a little soul, like, on just screen printed, layered over the top of the other screen print. And
so whatever was there, you layered something on top of it?
Yeah, so I added to it because I was like, well, the blank is all right, it's not bad. Like, the DTG that they used on it wasn't terrible, but, I was like, all right, let me figure this out. Like, this is a perfect opportunity to start something.
Wow.
And then the self-help has always been a big part of my life, and the soul, like, really, I was in the moment I needed a healing. So
wow, that's dope, Creator. That's dope. It's good to hear stories like that, because everyone obviously has their own story, and just to figure out how they got into the fashion world, or streetwear, so to speak. So it's cool to hear different perspectives. Your story sounds pretty dope. It sounds like someone who says, man, maybe I want to start a brand, but I don't really know how, so I'm not gonna think about it. And then boom,
Yeah.
You get an idea out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's kind of like what's happening.
Yeah, it felt I was really just following my gut. You know, I mean, it was really convenient because it was COVID, like the pandemic lockdown.
So it's current, like.
Yeah, it's 2020. I'd say it was the first 2021, like around that time, like in the winters when I made my first hoodie. This one here, and then I did like a Carhartt chore jacket as well, just to kind of like figure out the embroidery machine. Yeah. So it's relatively new. But yeah, I mean, it was the perfect. It felt like the perfect time.
I want to jump into the garments you prefer. Are you into cut and sew, or do you use like ready-to-make garments?
So I use blanks right now. I've been solely using Champion blanks, either the S700 or the reverse weaves.
Reverse weaves, yeah. Those are the ones.
Yeah, the reverse weaves. I was finding, believe it or not, I was finding them at Marshall's. Just the
so you went
all colors, full size runs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I went to the Marshalls in Queens and I bought out the whole store of blanks. Yeah, so normally they're like $60. I got them for $25. So yeah,
that's cheaper than Jiffy shirts.
Yeah.
I think Jiffy is like, I think they're like 30, 35 on Jiffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good look right there.
Oh yeah. So that was a nice little come up last year when I was doing the applique.
That's dope, creator. All right, so you went with some people have an issue with using like Champion. I guess because it's not their own branding.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still makes it unique. If you think about like Virgil. Virgil was using Champion at first for I think the Pyrex brand.
Yep.
You know, so it's still streetwear.
If you look at a lot of the brands that are really popular right now, most of their blanks are on Champion hoodies, or like if you look at Carrots by Anwar Carrots, like pretty much every single one of his blanks are Champion, and he's changed like the little Champion logo to the little carrot and like just the minor details. But it's like the reverse weave has been around for 40 years and they haven't changed the design of it at all. So it's the history behind it that makes me gravitate to it, but it's also a big part of it is what I feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
So like if I was going to a store, I would choose the brand that's using a Champion reverse weave blank over something else. Even if the cut and sew might ultimately be better, I know that the Champion is like guaranteed to fit me how I want it to fit. So big part of the brand, my brand at least, is like with self-help is like feeling comfortable in what you're wearing. So if the fit, if you struggled like I have in the past finding clothes that fit and make you feel good when you look down at yourself, that sort of just strayed me away from even buying the piece. So it was a big, that's why I used Champion.
So I'm noticing with your brand, it's a lot of embroidery work. You first started off with screen printing.
Yep.
Do you still use screen printing, or have you stuck just with strictly embroidery?
The screen printing is kind of turned into direct-to-garment printing, but I'm trying to like specialize in the embroidery side of things. So I've kind of put it on the back burner, but I've recently been connected with some people that can pick that up for me.
So what drew you closer to using more of an embroidery look versus the screen printing look?
Just the quality, really. I wanted to me, I've worked with a few smaller brands. I'm not gonna name names or anything, but I always felt like they took the easy way out. They used the most simple or cheapest ways to produce something, which is fine. Like, everybody has their means and, their capabilities and resources and stuff. But for me, at least, I wanted to really show that, like, I'm not doing this just to put out a whole bunch of stuff. I'm doing it more so to show that, like, if you want to make something, take the time to do it right. Even if it takes longer, take the time to do it.